Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. I am still Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It is still in the description below. It is still your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. This has been long awaited. I am so excited about sharing this watch because previously I have only received it from the hand of the master whose name is on the dial. I've met with the gentlemanly and approachable Ludovic Ballouard at Dubai Watch Week 2 editions in a row, but I've never had one of these upside-down timepieces in my studio. So this is the Ludovic Ballouard Upside Down, the first watch he launched when he struck out on his own in 2009 as an independent brand. They are built in incredibly small numbers, ranging from 12 to 24 per year. He does everything in-house, including the cases. So let's start with the basics and then delve deeper into the watch and the man behind it. This Upside Down, like all of them, is 41 millimeters in diameter, very thin, 10.5 millimeters thick. It's actually thinner than he claims, 47.5 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now this platinum model is a 2023 7-piece limited edition, so very scarce even by the standards of Ludovic Ballouard. We have a factory strap, which you can see is a sort of dark blue with a semi-gloss finish, a curved spring bar, a folded edge, monotone stitch, then on the bottom, calfskin, a Ludovic Ballouard factory strap, no crimping, no gouging, fresh from the man himself. And then a buckle crafted from matching platinum and hand engraved at that, featuring a little bit of a symmetry that is the Ludovic Ballouard buckle design. You can see it as the logo of the company and his name. Taking a quick look at the case, it's one of the selling points of the watch. Now, you may or may not be able to see this, but it is deeply concave in profile, and the idea being it is a concave lens. So when you actually look at your face in the flank of the case, you are upside down. I cannot convey that using my camera, but rest assured it is readily apparent when you look at the watch face to flank. Now, the lugs are curved and tapered. They're relatively conventional compared to the crazy case profiling, and you can see that it is symmetrical across both sides. The crown is off-centered to make the watch effectively ambidextrous, and it features the Ludovic Ballouard logo, so if you actually see the logo intact, it's easier to see it in the shape of the buckle. And there it is right on the flank, again, engraved by hand. All of the engraving here is by hand. Ludovic Ballouard individually engraves these characters himself, a high-stakes, high-wire act that requires a steady hand, confidence, and absolute mastery of your craft. Every part of this watch is either made or heavily hand-tailored by Ludovic Ballouard. Now, taking a look, you can see that the pivot points of the case are actually fairly inboard of the lugs, and the curved spring bar creates a more integrated look. Note that there's a bit of a recess in the flank of the case, so the strap can come right up against the side of the case. No daylight visible between them. This highly integrated look is only possible because of how far inboard the lugs are drilled and the fact that there is a recess designed into the flank of the case to enable a full range of motion. The reason this is a 7-piece limited edition isn't because it's platinum. Many examples, relatively speaking, of the Upside Down are made in platinum, but the combination of platinum with an Aventurine glass dial is truly exceptional. And it's not just the dial itself, it's also the individual discs for the Upside Down complication. We have a white gold hand, a leaf style or feuille. The reason only the current hour is right side up, so right now you can see it's about 4:14. Ludovic Ballouard basically says, carpe diem, live for today. The hour that is right side up reminds you that the only time that matters is the time at hand. Basically, now is the time of your life. Taking a look at the remainder of the dial, you can see how each one of these pivots on its axis, and it's easier to understand how this works when you see the reverse of the case. So this is, at heart, a Peso 7001 drivetrain. So the geometry from the barrel down to the escapement and the balance is the well-known Peso 7001. But whereas that has a diameter of 23.3 millimeters, this has a diameter of 35 millimeters, and while the interior, the core of the movement, is beautifully hand-finished, the exterior is where all of the Ludovic Ballouard magic happens. This Maltese cross system, along with a circulating indexing system, which you can see is actually engaged currently right under 3, 4, and 5. You see how it's engaging right there? You can see the little lips of the engagement ring. That is actually what rotates and jumps these numerals. Now, I should also mention who Ludovic Ballouard is. He started out as a watchmaker out of Brittany in France. So like F.P. Journe, he came from France. Like Denis Flageolet, many others. He started his career after watchmaking school as an aircraft repair expert because watchmaking jobs were scarce in that part of France in that time. He moved to Geneva, where from 1998 to 2001, he spent 3 years as a high-complication after-sales service specialist for Franck Muller. Moving to Francois-Paul Journe's nascent manufacturer in 2001, he became a long-term employee for 7 years, ultimately focusing on the creation of the Sonnerie Souveraine, the most complicated, intricate, and demanding F.P. Journe watch to manufacture. Later, he was selected by Harry Winston during the tail end of the heyday of the Opus series to build the Opus 13. So that's where Ludovic Ballouard comes from. In 2009, in the heart of the Great Recession, he launched his own brand. That is confidence. He actually left Journe to strike out on his own. So that's where he comes from. He's been a member of the AHCI since, I want to say, 2018, which is like the cool kids club of high-end independent watchmakers. Now let's get a look at how this thing operates, because enough talk. This thing is designed for show and go. And so what happens is when the minute hand jumps, look at the 5 right there. Just keep your eyes peeled on the 5. It will jump to attention, and you can see how the flange of the bezel overlaps the outer edge of the disc. So there's a little dot, and the dot is concealed until the upside down numeral becomes right side up, and it is truly instantaneous jumping. You could see the alignment through 12 o'clock is perfect. Again, there is no time like the present, no day like today, or even this very hour. So that's how the system works. All of this is 30 meters water resistant. This is, again, a 7-piece limited edition. And, if you want to know the serial number, guess a number between 1 and 7. You've got a very good chance. What's important is that it is largely Ballouard's work, as he modifies the entire core tremendously, and then he adds this outer mechanism that underpins the complication. So again, I mentioned a standard Peso 7001 is 23.3 millimeters in diameter, and this right here is 35. Well, a standard Peso has 17 jewels. This has 51. And you can see the finish is otherworldly. The bevel's truly rounded, hand-finished, a mile wide. Look at the polishing on this snail cam at center. Look how it's been beveled on its side, and then it's been snailed, appropriately enough, on its top. The same is true for the indexing lever. Look at the crown wheel core, and the ratchet wheel. They've been solarized on their center, and then the teeth polished on their edges. The Maltese cross system, they've all been circular satinated. We have this incredible snailing across the inner bridges and the outer bridge for the Maltese crossworks, and then all of the metal parts in silver have been individually and exquisitely finished. Even the locating pegs for the jumper spring, I guess this is more like the tension and jumper spring. You could see that those pegs have been polished on their top, and that is universal. All screw heads have been polished as well. Again, look at the hand engraving. No two of these, even an edition of 7, will be exactly alike. And this is a man who is quite content to keep production low, exclusive, and make his 12 to 24 watches a year. He is the kindest, most responsive, most enthusiastic gentleman you could ever meet. His French is perfect. His English is like my French. And so I actually interviewed him, and I asked him questions in my bad French, and he answered in a gracious an enthusiastic rendition of English. If you own a Ludovic Ballouard, you are part of his world. The movement operates at 3 hertz, and the one thing I have to mention is you will have to wind it at the same time every day, as it's only got a 36-hour power reserve, but I'll also mention that the winding action, the detent, and the click is superb, so it will be a daily joy and a pleasure. And again, all in ultra-white platinum, contrasting beautifully with the ultra-dark translucent blue of this fired vitreous enamel Aventurine glass dial, which is executed on a precious metal base. If you love this watch, reach out to me. I am Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.